No time to waste tonight.
No, hopping right into it.
Let's see. What are you going to say first?
Well, happy belated uh, Thanksgiving for those who do celebrate. Um,
Oh, well, thank you. I appreciate that.
you're welcome. And welcome to episode 77 of the Update Log.
Oh my goodness.
Uh, yep. I'm
Welcome
Robert
in, Harper.
House, and this is Greg, my co-host. Yeah, welcome in, Harper.
I'm your rowdy co-host that keeps interrupting you.
Eroticas. Yeah. And yeah. Well, again, happy Thanksgiving to those who do celebrate. For those who don't, happy Thursday. Yeah, fuck it. Happy Thursday, damn it.
Happy Thursday.
So, yeah,
Are you
Thursday.
okay? All right. All right. I'm following
Uh,
you. Okay.
Thursdays are good too.
It's Thursday
Um,
somewhere.
it is Thursday somewhere. It's also like Friday somewhere. No, it's Thursday somewhere. It's Thursday somewhere. It's not that far ahead. Although I wish it was Friday, and we'll get to that in a moment. But yeah, welcome into episode 77 of the Update Log. Pretty sure it's 77. Got a couple of things to talk about. Eh, let's get the elephant in the room out of the way
Can it
first.
be Friday? I feel your pain.
I wish it was Friday. Elon Musk apparently might be buying Hasbro. I mean, let's get the other elephant in the room out of the way. He can do it. He's got the
Well,
money
yeah,
easily.
yeah. If
and what I mean by he could do it is he could afford it. Whether or not Hasbro would sell, that's a different conversation. But he could easily afford it.
well, the people at
I
Twitter
mean,
didn't want to sell to him either, but I mean,
yeah. Well, that's a different. That's a little bit of a different elephant to eat. I mean, Twitter at that point, I think was valued at over $40 billion. I think that's what he paid for, right? Like
yeah,
41 or something.
44 billion. Yeah.
All right, so 44. Hasbro is nowhere near that.
About nine.
Hasbro, yeah, they're about 8.9 billion in terms of valuation, but they also have a $4 billion debt. So roughly, they're about $13 billion is what he would probably have to pay for them in totality. Again, which he can do. He's valued at $323.8 billion, so he can do it, no problem.
So, why is an
I don't.
interesting? Well,
That's the next question. Is
it
what?
some people don't know this about Elon Musk, but he is an avid gamer. He is a
He
D
is.
and you
He is.
bet.
He's a huge gamer.
He's a
He played
grognard.
Elden Ring. He is also a grognard. For those of you who don't know, that is apparently that comment actually, or that term actually started with Napoleon. It was
Napoleon.
a term. Yes, it was a term that he used for. I don't know if it was his line infantry, or a specific unit, cavalry or
The
heavy infantry, light
grognards.
infantry. It was actually no. It was actually pronounced Gorn, Gorn, Gornier, something like that.
Okay.
It was French pronunciation. Damn it! I'm not French. Okay, I don't know.
Allez-vous français?
Uh, no, I don't speak French at all, which is funny. Maybe I should have learned. Anyway, um, but yeah. So and again, I don't know the validity of that, but I was reading a post on that because someone was replying to a comment regarding grognards. And for those of you who don't know, grognard is a comment that has been used as a slur to represent the older, typically white male demographic of the TTRPG community. To use kind of a derogatory fashion, which I think is stupid because literally white older males were the one who created a lot of the TTRPGs. Kind of shitting
So,
on the guys that made the things that you're enjoying. It's kind of silly when you think about it.
Yeah, it's well, there's a lot of discussion about that, and actually in our Discord, there's a lot of really interesting
There
discussion
is.
on that. Um,
Yeah.
it
Yeah, we
just
did
it just
post. So if you aren't a follower, go ahead and follow and join our Discord so you can join in on that conversation.
Absolutely, and it really just depends on how where you're at with that and how you feel about it. The insulting part is that the lead developer, one of the main guys for WotC, you know, would have the
Jason Torello, I think his
Torello,
name is.
yeah,
Hold on. Let
but
me look up his name.
essentially is saying that older gamers, um, people who've been in the hobby for a long time, their opinions don't matter. Hmm.
Pretty much. Jason Tondro, excuse me, not Torello. Jason Tondro is his
Whatever.
name. Yeah. I mean, I don't mean to be dismissive, but if
I do. I
and
do.
again,
Absolutely. He's dismissive. I can
I
be dismissive too.
yeah, I was, you know what, you're right. Yeah, I'm gonna say this, and again, I don't want to go down that kind of shake our pitchforks at WotC, but I'm gonna say this. Don't how do I put this? Don't be an asshole. Especially talking, which the ironic part is he's an older white male. He was, I'm pretty sure, part of the
Oh,
original
it was part of his.
designers of D&D.
Well, he
I think.
mm,
I don't know.
he was part of
Um,
Pazio, and he did work
oh,
with
okay, he's part of
TSR
Paizo.
back in the day. Yeah.
Back in the day. Okay. So he wasn't part of the original group that, like,
Mm,
Arneson and all of them that helped.
no.
Gygax. Well, I mean, Gygax and Arneson were the
And
core
even if he was,
designers.
no. But
Yeah, I mean, it's silly. It's really silly that you're gonna sit there and throw shade at folks who, without them, there would be no D&D. That's the thing that blows my mind. Whether you agree with how they comported themselves or not, without them, we would have no D&D. Without them, we would have no Warhammer. Without them, we wouldn't have the things that we have. And ironically enough, those individuals grew up and started those things because number one, they were hobbies. And number two, the reason why they had those hobbies, because most of those guys got picked on and shit on when they were in school. They were the guys getting picked on. So that blows my mind that you're gonna turn around and be the
see, I
bully.
find it odd that that's the direction that those conversations always go,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
that's I mean, escapism,
It
okay, that's one thing. It's definitely one thing, that has had a major impact on role playing games. Um, yeah, well, I'm gonna get to some of these comments in just a moment here if Rob doesn't beat me
yeah.
to it.
No, I'm
But
I'm about to, but I'm gonna let you say your
but
piece
but
first.
the that escapism piece, it's like we always, the conversation always leads to, well, people getting picked on in school. And here's the thing with that, it's as if we want to say that those were the only people that played Dungeons and Dragons, or were interested in Dungeons and Dragons. And I think it
Yeah,
makes a good story. It's just not really true.
it's not true.
um Now, a lot
There's
of the
tons of
people,
people.
right, a lot of the people that were definitely not the mainstream folks. They didn't you had your decision. What did you want to do? You go out and party and get trashed on the weekend or weeknight or whatever it was, or go enjoy some time with some friends, or do
Hmm.
both.
Pretty much.
Which, yeah, I mean, some people do that
Yeah.
too.
Oh no, yeah, you can get trash at D&D game, but at least you're getting trash with people, that you can have fun with, and not complete, douchebags or strangers that you don't freaking know.
Hmm.
Yeah, it is, it is what it is. And here's the thing, again, the comment of grognards and you know, uh, predominantly white, Caucasian male, uh, hobby. It
Well, it was one of the
always, and
comments that he
again,
made, is that these original developers or creators were a group of old white guys.
racists. Yeah, and they were racists or sexist. And I don't want to go down that rabbit hole, but I'm gonna say my piece on that. I have never once sat down at a table, irregardless of the DM, whether it was like the person was male, female, white, black, orange. I've never experienced any of that crap at a table. And I've sat down at a lot of tables. I've been playing this 20 plus years. Sat down at a lot of tables. Greg, you've been playing this, what, 40 years now? No, not 40 years.
Probably
You're
close
not
to,
you're not that
yeah,
you're not that old.
close. It's close though.
Yeah, you're coming up on probably like you're at least at 30 years, if not a little more
Well,
or a
yeah.
little less. You're around that. So we've been playing this, between the two of us, and
About
not even
35.
including, yeah, not even including the folks who are in our audience. Just between the two of us, we've been playing this over half a century. And I'm sure between the two of us, we've sat at many a table. I have never once experienced any kind of racism or any of that crap. I've experienced some assholes, yeah, but never that.
Well, there's a huge assumption that's being made there that okay, to say that these old white guys that were the people who were driving this whole hobby forward, games in general. I mean,
Yeah,
video games as well, lumped right in there.
yep,
To say that okay, it's basically saying that if you write a story that has racism in it, then you're racist.
that's silly.
It is.
That's
It is
especially
absolutely silly.
it's silly. It's silly. It's silly because
If you
they're
write a
building
story that
lore.
has slavery in it, then that means you condone slavery,
No, absolutely not.
regardless
You're
of what
trying
the
to write a
context of the story is.
yeah, it's stupid. You're trying to write a believable story, and some of the lore that was developed for not just D&D, but for stories for multiple worlds. Conan the Barbarian, like for multiple IPs, things like slavery, social economic issues, those were prevalent, and it didn't mean the author was racist or condoned slavery or sexism or any of that stuff. They were trying to write a believable, impactful, and engaging story.
Right.
And certain elements, things like slavery, or more to the point, conflict and strife, as well as hope and brotherhood and heroic deeds, like most of the epics that that our history, our world history, has been built upon, things
Right.
like Beowulf and et cetera. That's what they were trying to do. So for anybody to sit there and legitimately think, oh, well, Artisan and Gygax, because they had certain aspects of their world had slavery in it. They can you're talking out your ass.
So the moral of this before we go too far down
For
that path,
yeah,
the moral of this is, I mean, it doesn't make any sense for an intelligent person running a business, in a position like he is, to just deliberately alienate a particular group of or part of their audience.
yeah.
Um, and
But
that's
he
well, he did
but he
it.
came out.
He did it so
Yeah.
boldly, so blatantly. It's
Mhm.
just like, oh yeah, fuck those guys. I
Yeah, pretty much. Like, that's essentially it. And I'm sorry. And again, I can't speak for anybody at Wizards of the Coast because I don't work there and it ain't my company. But if it was, best believe he'd be in my. As a matter of fact, I wouldn't even do him the courtesy of coming to my office. I would just call him, hey, by the way, clear out your desk tomorrow. Don't. You know what? Don't even bother coming in. I'll send you your stuff. You're done. Like, no, absolutely not. Absolutely not.
yeah,
And that's on both sides of the line, both as consumers and as developers. We really need to leave people's personal beliefs or whatever at the door.
mhm,
I myself have been guilty of judging a studio based on kind of how they've behaved in the last couple of years, and I hold myself accountable where, and I've had certain times where I've just sat back and you know what, I like the game even if I don't like particular people at the studio or some of the stuff that they're putting out on social media. That's irrelevant. I like the game. It's cool. Studio, but I like the game, so I'm gonna get it. You know, or
So
if this, it is what it is.
so
It's
why
silly.
why okay, so I just want to go back to this the Elon Musk thing, which is
Yeah, yeah.
all
Let's
it's all
backtrack a little
coming
bit.
off of a comment that he made on X.
Yes. Yeah.
And it was a
Give you guys
comment
some context.
related to an interview with this guy.
Mm.
Okay.
Yes, where that Grognard
Um,
comment was made, and Elon was responding to said comment.
yeah.
Um,
Well, yeah. He was responding to a bunch of things, but and it was a simple comment where he just asked
how
how
much is
much
Hasbro
how
worth?
much is Hasbro worth? You know, how much does
Uh,
it cost?
uh, yeah. Honestly, I hope he's really considering it. I really hope he's considering it because
I
it's
think
high time the industry as a whole, both the TTRPG side and video game side, left the politicking, left the personal agendas, left the views, your personal views at the door, and just started getting back to making great games again. And that's it. That's the last piece of I'm going to say on in the bitching portion of this,
well,
and I don't want to go down that rabbit hole.
I do think that there's some positive things that come out of this too.
Yeah, yeah. But
Um,
before we get to that, I do want to address some of the comments in the chat
oh, go for it.
before they get too far ahead. All right, so backtracking a little bit. So Harper writes, apparently, a soldier of the original Imperial Guard that was created by Napoleon in 1804, and that made the final French charge at Waterloo. Okay, so that's where the
Grognard.
grognard or French, however you pronounce it in France, no, French, not France, came from. Foxy, well, first of all, welcome in, Foxy. She says, I don't speak French either, so I'm going to assume you're pronouncing it correctly. I'm going to assume I'm pronouncing it correctly, otherwise, until told otherwise. I think a lot of older people are trying to be in the woke crowd. It really frustrates me. Pandering to modern audiences hasn't worked well in any sphere of gaming lately. And you're absolutely correct. I think a lot of, yes, a lot of the older crowd, the upper management, and a lot of these companies are trying to pander to, as they call it, modern audiences. And we're seeing time and again, multiple industries, both entertainment, gaming. Well, and gaming is entertainment, but entertainment, I mean by video, like TV shows, movies. The modern audiences aren't showing up. The modern audiences aren't showing up. That's definitely not in the numbers to keep your project alive. Hence why a lot of those projects are dead in the water more often than not. Or in the case, I think I'll use one example: Acolyte survived just for one season because the modern audience didn't show up, and the showrunners and other individuals within that particular project were akin to Jason Tondro, and basically calling out, saying, well, we don't, if you're not of the same mindset, we don't want you consuming our product. And well, they
Perfect.
found out the
Perfect.
majority of people, exactly, if it's not for me, I ain't gonna buy it. If it's not for me, I ain't gonna watch it.
Why don't you just tell me that before I even started watching the
Yeah,
bullshit
honestly,
anyway?
you know what? I'm not even mad at them. At least they're being honest. Hey,
Right.
we don't want you at our stuff. Okay, cool. I ain't gonna spend my money.
I think they should just put that in the opening credits. I just think that should be
Yeah.
right
Yep.
there at the very beginning. That if you don't whatever, if you don't agree with us or don't you're not on
Yeah.
this
Don't
whatever,
don't come to our stuff.
you just don't
Okay,
watch
fine. I won't
this.
come to your
Okay,
stuff.
that's fine.
Yeah.
I'll move on to
Are
something else.
really, yeah. Exactly. Um, Harper says working with a lot of the upcoming generation, a lot of my high school students actually like the older material and stories. They aren't as big a fan of some of the newer stuff. See, look at that. And here's the thing. It's not that folks don't like diversity. It's not like that
Hmm.
folks don't enjoy, including, uh, non-traditional characters. It's not that we don't like any of that. It's that the examples that we've seen have been, in my opinion, and it's my opinion, they've been bad character development, bad writing, bad premise, and it's been bad on top of going back and crapping on older content that it's building, that it's basically riding the coattails of. And I don't want to go into too many examples there because there's tons of them. But Google's your friend. Trust me, there are plenty of examples of it, and we're tired of it. It
Yeah,
honestly,
Google's not your
it's an
friend, by the way.
insult.
Don't believe that.
Well, to a degree, and it's honestly insulting to our intelligence because they're acting like we can't see what they're doing. We can't put two and two together and be like, I see what you're doing,
Right.
and your writing was crap. And again, it's each their own. But for me, most of the writing, and that's the thing, the writing, the character development, the story, it's just bad,
Well, they're
and we're
they're
tired of that.
introducing real world politics into our games. That's
Actually, I'm gonna correct you there, because we've always introduced real world politics. They're introducing current politics into games that they don't have any business being in. Like
well,
what
I don't
in
think politics at all has any business being there. I don't think there's a distinction personally.
well,
It's
I go ahead, go ahead. Sorry, Greg, go ahead.
well, and just looking at, I mean, just looking at what we're, what are we talking about with these reimaginings?
Yeah,
We're taking the original story and we're adding a bunch of current
yeah,
social and political views into it and saying, well,
I
we're
have no business
reimagining
being
it
there.
so that it fits with today's culture.
No,
Um,
I don't want it to fit with today's culture. I don't care about today's culture.
just make your own damn story then. Make a new
Exactly. If you,
story that has
yeah.
all of the stuff that you want to see or hear or whatever it is. You
Hmm.
don't have to take a classic story and reimagine it to include all of this stuff. I
Yeah,
mean,
absolutely. Um, let's continue on here. Let's see. Um, Foxy Project says overcoming and dealing with those conflicts helps teach critical thinking skills. Absolutely, and I think that was in response to the comment that I made earlier about, you know, we as gamers, as storyteller enjoyers, we like to see the hard stuff. We like to see things like, strife and turmoil and conflict in the stories that we are consuming. We like to see that because it first of all, it fits the stories that have been told for centuries, if not millennia, in human history. Number one. Number two, it, it's those are what good stories are made of. A group of people or an individual overcoming adversity and growing from it and ultimately making things better. But again, the injection of modern day and modern views is not what we want to see. We like the injection of political intrigue and socioeconomic strife and war and all of these different things because that's what we understand as human beings. I don't want to see modern culture injecting that because I don't give a shit about modern culture. I don't care.
well,
I don't care.
it's yeah. To me, it just depends on how you look at it.
Yeah.
When it comes to these games, I mean, you have the you have the we're way off base here, but you have the opportunity. Okay, if some of these things are part of that world or they're not ignored in that world, ignoring things doesn't make them go away. I'm sorry, it just doesn't.
No. Yeah. No.
But let's just stick with pick one, slavery. Okay,
Yeah.
if it's in the game, it's part. It's something that you can interact with and you can impact. If it's in the game, you
Hmm.
can do something about it.
Yeah.
You if we just ignore everything that we don't like and we take all that out of our media, out of our games, out of our, I mean, what are you left with? You know what I mean?
Nothing. You're
I mean,
left with
I
nothing.
like wheat bread every once in a while. It doesn't all have to be white. That's
And this is my opinion. If you take out all the conflict and you make everybody copacetic and you know kumbaya and everybody's cool with each other, here's what you're left with. Crap. You're left with a boring ass fucking story. That's what you're left with. You're left with a story that no one wants to watch or read or play, and that's what studios are realizing now. They're like,
The vast
the
majority
story.
of video games now and throughout the history of video games have been based on some sort of conflict.
Exactly. It's based on some sort of conflict that the player, through the character, has had to overcome. You
Mm-hmm.
take that out, then what the fuck do I have to do as a player? Might as well turn off the fucking game. I already won.
Right. Well, and every I maybe I'm wrong. I don't think so, but I think every AAA game is based on conflict. There's
Yeah.
conflict.
There's
That's
some kind of
why.
conflict. It doesn't have to be
Right.
grandiose or anything like that, but there's some kind of impetus, there's some kind of push, there's some kind of why
You,
for
right.
you as the player sitting down in that seat, picking up that controller or mouse and keyboard or whatever, and playing that game. And typically it's a conflict. To some degree, it's a conflict. Foxy Project says, and it seems like studios have one or two bad actors that give people a bad feeling about the whole. Yeah, exactly. Foxy Project, you're 100% correct. It's not the majority. It's a very small minority that, for some reason, they found the megaphone and they're yelling at the top of their lungs and they're putting people off. And people are going elsewhere. And I can't blame them. Um, I'm gonna kind of go through these really quickly so we can kind of get back on track and move the conversation along. I don't want this to be a whole us yammering and hammering on this particular topic too long, because we can go on forever. um, so and this comment right here is really what I want to get to. And I think Greg, you'll agree. D&D had diversity without having to call it diversity.
Mm-hmm.
When you call it out and make a character to check a box, you aren't doing any justice to the box you're trying to check. Absolutely, and that's the thing that blows my mind, that I don't understand how people can't realize. D&D was always diverse from the get-go. You could create whatever you wanted.
Mm-hmm.
You could create who and what you want. If you wanted to create an Asian inspired character, you could do that. If you wanted to create a black inspired character, you could do that. If you wanted to create a character that you could even have a character that's a slime. You could have a character that's slime. You could do that. So that blows my mind that people will sit there with a straight face and say, "Well, D&D is not inclusive enough." Put down the Kool-Aid, my friend. Put down the Kool-Aid. Please, for the love of God, put it down. Blows my mind that people would sit there with their whole ass chest and say that shit. Oh boy. Sorry, I know I'm going on a little bit of a rant. I apologize. It blows my mind.
I'm there with you. I don't understand that thinking myself. I honestly would be more than happy to sit down and talk to someone who would like to try to explain it to me. That would be fantastic.
Yeah, and that's the
I'm
thing.
probably not going to buy
Elon.
it, but hey, I'll
Yeah,
listen.
I hope Elon's serious. I think it was just an offhanded comment.
Yes,
Though
I don't think he's
though to be
serious.
fair, the amount of traction it's getting, he might very well be like, you know what? Started out as a joke, but
Yeah, maybe.
we'll see. I mean, he has the money to do it, and he is. I mean, he's a nerd. He's a dork. Like, as a matter of fact, we're going to circle back to Elon here in a little bit, because one of the topics we have to discuss, he's actually fairly sure he's a big fan of Path of Exile, a game by Grinding Gear Games Studio, which I want to say they're in Australia. I can't remember if they're Australia or New Zealand. I'm pretty sure they're in Australia. They're an
Well,
Australia-based. Uh, at this point, I'd call them a double A studio, but we'll get to them in a moment. Um, but he's a nerd. He's a huge nerd.
well, he
So I
did
wouldn't.
also in the same vein introduce a new AI based gaming platform.
Yes, which we are actually intimately familiar with that side of things. Go back and watch our sit down with Twain Martin. We actually had
Mhm.
two sit downs, and then the sit down that you had with
Jeff
remind me,
Jeff
Jeff.
Goodsell.
Yes, both from Upheaval Games. Both of them are really really cool guys. They're working on an AI platform where anybody can use that platform and create their own world. Think Ready Player One. That's
Hmm.
I think that's kind of what they're going for there, and I wish them all the best. We're definitely keeping an eye on that. But going back to Elon and that comment, I know I'm pretty sure I'm like 90% sure he was joking. The other 10% is hopeful that he's not, and he's preparing something for the new year. We'll see. Only because, and we've seen it. We've seen. I mean, you and I have both talked about this on and off the
Hmm.
podcast. But we've seen, and I'm sure we're not the only. We've seen a shift in the industry as a whole, where they're realizing, okay, we went off the rails. We need to get back on the track, and get back to listening to the players and putting out the stuff that they want, and not just a subset or a small group of players, but the community at large. What do they want?
Right, right,
Um,
and digging in to find out, what really is out there. What do people really want to see? And the experiments that have gone on with this. I mean, you can tell the games that are hitting on it because they do very well, and not just because they have a lot of money or big name behind them. I mean, Critical Role is a perfect example of that because some of the stuff that they put out, you would think, at one point in time it was thought that anything that Critical Role touched was golden, and that's been
that's
proven
not
wrong
anymore.
now. Right? It's
Yeah.
been proven wrong. They put some very charged product out there, and people rejected it. Just like, no, that's not what we want.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Exactly. It's not what we want.
so
Yeah, that's not what we want. So again, I hope. I mean, and Harper and Foxy both say the same thing. That he was people thought he was kidding about Twitter. Look what happened. So we can only hope. Um, we'll see. And yeah, a Foxy project. BG3, Baldur's Gate 3 was such a phenomenal game. The writing is so good. The characters are so good. I don't care that some of the characters can be gay or lesbian or
yeah,
whatever. I don't give a shit because the writing is just that good. Because that aspect of the character is not a central focus. The character is a central focus in their entirety, not just one aspect of them. But anyway, one of the next things that we are going to talk about in relation to D&D and Baldur's Gate 3 and all of this stuff, and studios kind of course correcting. Steam has actually kind of put their foot down in a way in terms of consumer protection pieces. To boil it down for you, they have put out a couple of posts on X, Twitter. I'm going to call it Twitter forever, um, outlining uh, to sum it up. Basically, studios are now, if your game is on their platform, studios are now going to be required to do a couple of new things with regards to DLCs. Because in the past we've had some games where they put out a either early access or they'll put out like a bundle. Buy the premium edition or the most expensive one, and you get like a season pass with it. And these are mostly specific to live service games. Um, and the basically the season pass, it's a content drip of every quarter, every half a year, every year there'll be some major new update coming out. And we've seen a number of games, we've talked about a number of them here on the podcast that have done that, and then the game flops, the DLC isn't what you paid for, um, or you basically you don't end up getting what you paid for. And Steam has basically stepped up and said, hey, it's not gonna fly on our platform anymore. They're basically putting in place um, rules and regulations on Steam that, as a studio, if we were to put out a piece of content with that, we would have to detail what's going to be in the DLC, when that DLC is going to come out, and it's going so far that they have to be within 3 months. So, like, let's say me and Greg put out a piece of content, and a DLC is like, oh well, shit, we're we have to push it back. We can only push it back 3 months. If it's anything further than 3 months, if it's 3 months in a day, Steam is going to refund the consumer. If the DLC isn't what you said it was going to be, Steam is going to refund the consumer. If the game flops and you don't get your content, Steam's going to refund the consumer. And you know what?
Good.
I'm happy for that because I mean, a number of people have talked about this, and one of the things that they got right is studios. The gaming industry was under the radar for so long in terms of visibility.
Mhm.
Granted, it's always been a billion-dollar industry. It's always been an industry that's made tons and tons of money. But in terms of visible, like mainstream popularity, it's only in the last. I'm gonna say honestly, it's only since COVID. It's since we were all stuck inside, really, that people, the world at large has really been paying attention to video games. And studios have been used to kind of writing their own ticket and doing whatever the hell they want with regards to their IPs and their content and how to distribute it. That laws protecting consumers from studios be like, well, I'm gonna just pull that off the server and you can't play it anymore, which we've seen. It's kind of catching up. I'm actually excited to see that Steam is I mean, it's the biggest digital platform for video games by far, kind of stepping up and again showing that hey, we're on the side of the consumer, um, and you know, giving us that security of like, hey, I paid for this, I'm not getting what I paid for.
Well,
I want my money
it
back.
puts the accountability back where it belongs when it comes to I mean, let's opinion here, but the quality of games has been going down, the price has been going up,
Yeah.
and
Oh,
that's
absolutely,
it's
absolutely,
ridiculous.
absolutely.
So
It's to such a degree, it's crazy.
to have a platform like Steam, which yeah, they're the big dog. To have them start, essentially creating policy that says, hey, look, you as a developer, you're going to have to,
So welcome.
right, you're going to have to do what you're supposed to do. You're just going to have to take care of your customer.
Hmm.
You're going to have to live up to the expectations that you set, especially with the DLCs and things like that, or you're going to pay for it. I
Yeah,
love it.
absolutely. No, well, there's it's a double-edged sword, and I'm gonna play devil's advocate in a minute, but I do also want to welcome in old man Garrus. Thanks for tuning in, buddy.
Hey,
It's been a
Gareth.
while since we've seen you. Um, Glad you're here. But yes, I mean to answer to reply to that comment, Greg, I am also excited that Steam is holding folks who put, because it doesn't just affect the studio itself, it affects Steam. It looks negatively on Steam when a game that's on their platform snubs the player and then the player has to eat the cost.
Right.
However, play devil's advocate for a little bit, because Steam is the largest platform, digital provider of video games. Do you feel like they're throwing their weight around a bit here with regards to this? And if so, do you think they have the right to do that? Do you think they have the right to demand that studios adhere to these particular
All
guidelines?
right, all right. So I have an answer for that question.
Okay.
It's a complicated question, but here's my
Yeah.
answer on this. Okay.
Yep.
Essentially, Steam is a community-based storefront, or a
Yep.
storefront with a community. Okay.
Yep. Yep.
So Steam isn't making these games. Steam is providing the storefront to publish the games, to sell the games. So if you ran a store, if you had a store, um, and all that product that was in that store then becomes a reflection on you and your service. Okay? So if you have a store and all you carry in your store, or a good sized chunk of the stuff that's in your store is garbage, then what is the reflection on you? Because
Yeah.
these customers, first off, trust Steam. They come to Steam. Okay, so that's the first relationship, is between the customer and Steam. So in this sense, they're the middleman. Now, if everything Steam or if Steam is pushing garbage games on their customers, then the reflection's going to be on Steam more so than the studio. So
Exactly.
is it really them throwing their weight around? Yeah, it is. It's leveraging their customers, uh, and leveraging their customers against their suppliers, which is good because it is simply saying that, hey, if you want to continue to sell product on our storefront, in other words, to our customers, because that's the relationship, then you're going to have to provide good product. You're going to have to live up to your word and do the things that you say you're going to do. And yeah,
Mm-hmm.
are they throwing their weight around? Yes, but that's part of why we go to Steam anyway. It's part of why you go to
Yeah.
the store that you go to. It's why some people choose Target over Walmart. It's why, you know what I mean? I could go on and on with that. Because of the value that you get, the quality of the merchandise or the product that you get.
Yeah. No, I honestly, again, playing devil's advocate, I completely agree with you. Are they throwing their weight around? Yes. Should they be? In my
Yeah.
opinion, yeah, because they're the only ones doing it. They're the only ones, at least it appears to be, the only ones in that space, in the storefront space in terms of the video, the digital marketplace for video games market, willing to step up and be like,
Oop.
our users, the consumers are paying for this product,
Mhm.
and you're not delivering,
Right. Right. And if
so
you if
they
you
deserve
continue
to
if
get
you
their
can
money back.
yeah, if you continue to not deliver, not only are we going to give their money back to them, but we're not going to allow you to use this platform anymore. You're not going to be able to sell your product here.
Um, Yep. Let's see. Let's see what we have
Oh,
here.
that's a different. I do
That,
want good, 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 good. Old man Garrus mentions the
yep.
class action lawsuit, which
Yes.
I'm not saying that at all, and I think that you hit on something really important there because
Yeah, well, let's talk about that. Let's address that because that's a good point.
I think it's a huge part of
Um,
this whole thing.
so Greg, would you like to remind the audience what Old Man Garrus is talking about?
What what
That way,
what
that way they have some context.
So, all right, there's a couple of class action lawsuits that have been out there
True.
filed against Valve, which is the parent
Yep.
company of Steam, and it's a lot of it is about how Steam conducts themselves, not just with the customers, but with their clientele on the opposite side, their
Yeah,
providers.
with the developers and
There's
publishers. Yeah.
there's also a lawsuit out there basically leading down the path of monopoly, saying that Steam has too much control in the marketplace and that they're using that control to drive other platforms out of business.
Mhm.
And right or wrong, I mean, I'm not part of that. I don't know. I do know
Yeah.
this. I know that from a customer service standpoint, in my opinion, Steam provides the best platform. They have the best customer service. They have a fantastic platform that's very friendly to the consumer. And that's why they have such a large community that you
Mhm.
know
That has been
revolves
built
around.
from that.
Right.
Yep.
So, do I think that this has anything to do with heading off the class action lawsuits, as Old Man Garrus puts it? Um, what do you think, Garrus?
Yeah, I was gonna say, what do you think, Garrus? Let's put on your tinfoil hat and tell us what you think.
I'm gonna hold off on an answer for that because I'm dying to know what
Yeah,
Garrus thinks about
yeah.
this whole thing.
I will address Fosse Project's comment though, and they said if other games storefronts weren't such a slog to use, I'd use them. I bought Fallout 76 from the Xbox store first and had nothing but problems. Same thing. Well, I didn't buy 76 Fallout 76 from the store. I think it was through Prime or something. It was like a giveaway. This was back when the Fallout TV show came out, and it was free on through Prime on the Xbox, like Game Pass. Some I had to go through Xbox storefront to get it. I got it for free and tried to download and play it. headache. It's there. I know it's there. Am I ever going to play it? Probably not. It was just a pain in the ass to get to, and you're 100% right, Fox. If games are easy to use in Steam, or sorry, if other storefronts were as easy to use as Steam, I'd use them. The only other one that I know is as simple is GOG. That's the only other one. That's the only one I've ever really used. Um, but yeah, so what do you guys think? What do all you guys think about what Old Man Gare said, and kind of what the topic is at the moment? Steam kind of pushing this forward as a way to garner some goodwill for that class action lawsuit that they're facing. Well, multiple actually at this point. And here's the thing, everybody talks about monopolization. Um, yes, no, don't worry, old man Garrus, take your time, right away. Uh,
That's what I was sitting here thinking, Garrus. I'm like, yeah,
yeah,
he must be
he's
just
typing away, boy.
right, steam
Um,
coming off those that keyboard right now.
yep. But everybody, kind of harps on Steam's monopolization of the market. Number one, they don't have a monopoly, because they do have competitors. Here's the thing:
He does.
it's just that their competitors aren't good. Well, okay, let me correct that.
Well, their
Apologies,
platforms are not user
they're not
friendly.
as good. The platforms aren't as good as Steam. That's the bottom line. It's not that Steam has a monopoly. It's just Steam just does it better. And we've had this conversation on previous episodes. They had the longevity. They were the first one out, really, if not one of the first. I really can't remember a time where Steam wasn't around. I'm pretty sure they were the first digital storefront for video games, if not one of the first. And at that,
Hmm.
they were one of the easiest ones to use from the jump, and they've only gotten better. Hence why they now have a community built around them.
Right.
They just did it better. They paid attention to what the people wanted, which honestly, modern studios and the way modern the studios are handling themselves nowadays, they could take a page out of fucking Steam's book,
Get
get their
good,
heads out of
scrub.
their ass, and get back to work. Exactly, get good, scrub. Exactly, just fucking get better at it.
I,
Simple as
I,
that.
yeah, I think there's a lot of positive things that can come out of this from a Steam Valve, standpoint.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
and they're all good for the consumer. Now,
yeah. And go ahead, Greg.
what we should see is improved quality. We should
Yes,
see improved quality in the
and
games.
transparency.
Improved transparency. We'll see a lot less of the BS that goes on about all these promises about what's going to be in the games, because they're going to have to they're either going to have to fulfill those promises, or they're going to have to stop over promising and under delivering, which is essentially what's happening, and that's a bad business practice. And if anything, you should always under promise and over deliver. Give the customer more than what their expectation was versus less. Looks like he's busy with an outside conversation for the moment.
Yeah, sorry about that.
It's okay.
But yeah, what was I saying? Um, yeah,
Steam,
again,
Valve.
yeah, sorry, increase transparency, um, for us as the consumer, because yeah, like you said, Greg, they're either gonna have to pony up, deliver on what they promised,
Mm-hmm.
or not, you know, and it's not gonna be on egg on Steam's face. It's gonna be egg on their face, and that circles back to another problem that has been plaguing the current day industry is teams are too big, budgets are way too high for no reason. And
Right.
we've talked to Twain, we've talked to Jeff, we've talked to plenty of folks who have decades in the industry say the same thing. Teams are just way too big. They're not communicating the way they need to be. They're grossly overscoping the projects. So honestly, I think as hard as it is for us to and it's really not that hard. I'm just
Too many cooks in the
hyperbole.
kitchen.
Yeah, too many cooks in the kitchen. But as much of a struggle as it is, as someone who enjoys games, seeing the industry as a whole kind of struggle under its weight because it's gotten so damn large, I think this is needed. This kind of kick in the pants was kind of needed for the studios to
Well, it should
course correct.
it should also reduce the gross amount of garbage, because that's,
Mhm.
the gaming industry has become bloated. There's
Yeah.
so much. Just I really hope that other platforms take the same stance. Not just the video game platforms like Steam, but drive through. I hope they take the same stance. No more crap.
Okay. Interesting. Got a off-screen link here. Apparently, here I'm gonna post this in there for our audience. But that is actually one of the games that is joined in the lawsuit by Lugaroo. No idea what this game is, but apparently this is one of the guys joining the lawsuit against Steam.
Interesting.
It was made in 2005. What the hell? That's weird. Why are they part of this lawsuit? That's what I want to know.
Interesting.
I don't know.
Follow
Okay.
Turner, a rebel bunny rabbit with impressive combat skills, in his quest to find those responsible for slaughtering his village. What'd I tell you? You gotta have, that.
Gotta have yeah. Gotta have some conflict.
Uncover a far-reaching conspiracy involving corrupt leaders of the Rabbit Republic and wolves of the nearby lands. Streamlined combat. Gone are the days of. Okay. Gone are the days of combo. ...
Hmm.
There's more.
Yeah.
That's the basics to what this game is, and there's some really this is kind of, not great graphics, but hey, I mean 2005,
I mean,
you know
Greg, 2005, man.
very
So Old
positive
Man Gear
reviews though.
says, let's look at who this benefits and who the lawsuit represents. Focus on the one regarding the percentage that the devs have to pay. Game publishers are being represented by two indie publishers who complain that the 30% commission is excessive. They claim that this causes the publishers to raise the cost of the product, therefore costing you, the player, an extra percentage of fees. Quote from one of the two publishers about the suit: "No individual company should exert this much power over the fortunes and overall culture of an art form."
Sell your product somewhere else then.
Yeah, they're just selling your product somewhere else. No one's forcing you to be on Steam.
That's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous.
Yep.
It's like, it would be like me trying to get, obviously I have another business, but it'd be like me trying to get my product into Walmart, and if Walmart said no, we're not going to carry your product, then I would go and complain and say, well, they shouldn't be able to tell me no. It's essentially what
And
it is.
apparently a judge, I just got another off-screen link, and this is as of, okay, so this is as another, this is an older article, so this is back 2020. Oh, this has been going back since 2022. This is Wolfire's antitrust
I
suit
agree,
can
Garrus.
move ahead. No car. Yeah, no, this is nonsense. It's like, go sell your stuff somewhere else. Simple as that.
I agree 100%. I think
Well,
that's, I don't want to diss these little companies, but I will definitely, speak about the things that they're saying and the approach that they're taking, because I totally disagree with it. I think they're wrong.
Yeah, and here's the thing. That is one of the only pieces that I will ding Valve on, Old Man Gares, is limiting number of keys that you can sell outside of Steam. That's the only thing I'll ding them on, only because don't you shouldn't be doing that. Now, if they're selling it for less on another platform and than the one on yours, then okay, I can see Steam being a little miffed about that. But don't limit the keys. Okay, you're going to get 1,000 keys or publishers who want to sell the licenses direct or on third-party marketplace, which means Valve makes it. Yeah, I mean, and again, I understand why they limit that, or rather, not necessarily why they limit it, but why they get upset about that. Because yeah, you're trying to sell direct on your platform or less on someone else's platform, yet you want them to use my infrastructure because that's where those keys lead to. They lead to Steam's infrastructure, so they get all the the benefits of using Steam's infrastructure and their storefront and et cetera, or not their storefront, but all of the convenience of using Steam. But Steam gets no money from that, and that is bullshit.
I guess I,
Exactly.
looking at the argument that's here, okay, so trying to unpack that a little bit and what we're looking at is Valve a big company? Yes, they are. They're a monster.
Yeah.
At this point.
No. I mean, I think we did the math. They own in the digital retail space for video games. They own 85%.
Yeah, it's
83,
huge.
85%, something like that. So.
Well, and what does that? Does that mean that they should just share that with everybody else? There are antitrust laws and all those good things out there, but the thing is it's not like they don't have competition. They do.
They do. Competition is not as good.
Exactly.
That's what it boils down to. Steam is not trying to stop them from competing. Like, Steam's not just trying to stop them from competing.
Well, that's the claim, is like with the key situation. That's the claim, is that since we can only have 1,000 keys, and that means you're trying to no. It's all about how they manage their business, how they practice their business, and you bet Steam fully has that right as a company, as a storefront, to say, look, if you're going to sell your product on our platform, then this is the deal, whether you like it or not. Yeah. This is the deal. You can try to negotiate a better deal with us, and who knows? I mean, you might have a really good game. Maybe you produce something that Steam's like, hey, we want that on our platform, and until you can change the relationship to that, which puts you in a better bargaining position, then you're going to have to deal with whatever Steam tells you, because they're the ones that it's their storefront. You don't own their storefront. You don't control their storefront. If you want to sell on their storefront, you accept the deal they give you, or you try to negotiate a better deal with the understanding that Steam may say no, go pound sand.
Yeah.
You either do what we want, or you don't.
Yeah, and here's the thing. It's like the people have done the math. You do better when you sell on Steam. So it's not like the 30% is going to kill you. I mean, 30% is a lot, don't get me wrong, but it's not like you're going to make more money. That's number one. Number two, I'm going to point to what Old Man Gare said, because he hits it right on nail on the head. So the real world example: a game is sold for $40. Steam wants their $12 for it, as that's I believe that's about 30%.
I think
Publisher sells direct on their website or on their platform to keep for 30, because they want to keep the extra $12 and license and whatever. The player redeems it on Steam, and that's the thing people don't understand, or at least they might be forgetting, but you can redeem games on Steam that you didn't buy on Steam. So as Old Man Gares pointed out, you get the Steam you get the convenience of your games on Steam, the support and distribution, and Steam gets no money.
Hmm.
What company in their right mind would be like, yeah, sure, go ahead and use my stuff. You don't have to pay me. No, no.
Right.
Whatever you're smoking, put it down. Um, and he says that's why sites like Humble, Fanatical, Aniba, and so many other marketplaces exist. Publishers are able to resell bulk keys that they get from Steam for games that folks aren't buying and bypass them. Exactly. So in that light, you know what? I'm not even going to ding them for limiting the keys. They should limit the keys if people are doing that. Absolutely.
Hmm.
So, yep. Harper says it's no different than paying for advertising in some ways because Steam does advertise new games that come in as well, and they do. Yeah, they do. Like you don't really have to advertise on Steam if you market it well. If you write up a good page, Steam does the marketing for you. They'll
Right.
push your stuff to the front of the page. You know, and they'll recommend you in the kind of queue for people that have like-minded interest. So I'm sorry, man. For me, it boils down to get good. These other platforms, you want to bitch and complain? Okay, well, do better.
Well, it's not the
Do
other
better.
platforms necessarily that are
Well, the
bitching and complaining.
publishers,
Right.
the publishers, yeah. Excuse me, the publishers. How about you stop sucking? Make a
Right.
make a make a better game.
Right. Make something that that people want.
Yep. Yeah, server hosting, security scans on all DLC, updates, messaging forums, or oh yeah, that's again, you get all of that without paying money for it.
You know
Like
what?
you're stealing. Essentially, you're stealing. That's what you're doing. You're stealing.
Well, and they can always opt to pull their game off of Steam as well. I mean, I don't know what the
Mhm.
contracts look like, but I am assuming that that's part of that negotiation is you don't have to. It's not like a lifetime where if we put our game on Steam, we can never do anything with it. It's literally as long as it's on Steam. So you could do that. At release year one, launch your game on Steam, sell it there for a year, and then pull it off and sell it privately. And you can make
Yep.
all the money off it if that's what you want.
Exactly. And Harper brings up a very very important piece is that when you're using these other platforms, they don't really save your games the way Steam does.
Mm-hmm.
I've unloaded and reloaded games. I don't have to worry about where they're at. I know exactly where they are. I know where to find them. Just again, they do it better. Period. They do
Yeah,
it better.
as I've bought new machines over the years, I have a list. I have probably about half of my list I don't even have downloaded on this rig.
Hmm.
I could at any point in
Yeah.
time just click on it and say, okay, I want to play this now, and it'll upload it so I
Yep.
can play
Yeah.
it.
And cloud saves that they offer, like
Yep.
again, honestly, Steam is doing right by the industry as a whole, both from the consumer side and from the public, the development side, in my opinion. So kudos to them for this. Honestly, I hope the lawsuits fall flat on its face because that's crap. You're trying to steal from them and then get mad when they're calling you out
So
and they're
so let's
tightening things up.
let's
No.
back up for just a moment to that initial question that Garrus asked. So how much of this do you think, or do you think it has anything to do with staving it off? Um,
Ah,
maybe a little bit of it is a punishment as well, where
what do you mean?
essentially,
How do you
well,
mean?
where essentially Valve has taken the stance of, okay, if you're going to act this way, then we're just going to change our policy and make it so that you either up your game, you make better product, you make better content, you stick to your word and take care of our customers, or you just can't sell your product here at all. And
Yeah.
you can do the fuck around and find out thing. You can go ahead. We'll put your product up here. But if the customer decides that you cheated them, then we're going to refund them, and that's coming out of your pocket.
Yeah. And Foxy Project brings up a very good point. I think kind of falls in line with what you're saying there, Greg. Yeah, it's Steam clarifying their position because they take all the risk if someone overpromises. Absolutely, because it's gonna look bad on them. Monetarily, I don't think Steam really takes a hit for the most part.
Well, they do
Because
lose the revenue that they would have generated.
yeah, that's true. That's true. They do lose. Yeah, you're right. They do. They do take a monetary hit. Never mind. Um, but yeah, and I don't blame them for it. Now back to the question: what do we as players care about and are able to influence? Access and promises for games, keep the players happy, let them fight the publishers and media who go up for this class action. How do we keep them happy? Offer to give them better services, money back offerings. Yeah, I mean, again, Steam is doing what they need to do for the health of their business, and the health of their business is keeping their users happy and listening to their users and what the users want. And
You think
honestly, they
about
seem to
it,
be doing that.
it's some great marketing too, propaganda you
Oh
may
yeah,
want to call it, but
yeah.
because it kind of sets the stage for if you're there must be a reason why you're not on Steam.
hmm Yeah, who does exactly, Foxy? Who does that? Listen to you users? Come on now. Come on. So let's see. Why does Epic Store exist? It's not all just Fortnite that keeps people using them. It's the every week you give me free game or two. It's about the financial offering to the players. Oh yeah, yeah. That's why Epic exists. Well, Epic exists for a couple of reasons. That, and because of Unreal Engine, which is one of the two premier free to use game development software. But primarily, yes, it's because you get free games. I've gotten tons of free games from Epic Store, and I mean, I also do use Unreal, but that's beside the point. But yeah, and again, Steam has competition. The competition just needs to get better, and the publishers just need to realize that Steam isn't gonna be bullied because in my opinion, that's what the class action lawsuit is. You're trying to bully them, and you're playing with the wrong company.
Yeah, when it comes to and just talking about developing a video game, um, the lion's share, and by that I mean absolutely massive portion of investment that goes into any game, is right up front. Once you've made your money
Okay.
back, um, games are extremely profitable,
hmm
and especially games that have no hardware with them. I mean, you're talking you're downloading this, so all your development money is invested upfront, and then what is the
Then once
cost
you
after that? If
once you hit that threshold,
right, if you
you're good.
continue to maintain the game and maybe even make some updates and advancements on the game, then yeah, you will have some residual costs that goes in there, but at a certain point the margin on that game just continues to go up and up and up until you're looking at margins of 70 to 90, maybe even higher percent.
hmm And just pure profit.
Mm-hmm.
So
Well, and then once you stop supporting the game, every sale you make after that's 100% profit, just
yeah,
straight
pretty
up
much.
free money.
Yeah. So, but yeah, kudos to Steam for that. However, there's another topic to discuss, and this one I'm really excited
We
for
have more
because it's
topics.
another. We have one more topic to discuss. It's about a studio
I
called Grinding Gear Games.
I think we
Old Man
just
Garrus, you
I,
probably
I think we need to get
know.
Garrus on the show so we can have a proper argument.
We probably should. So look at the difference between how Steam does business versus others. Sony, Microsoft both take. Yeah, exactly. Microsoft, they do. Yeah, I'm pretty sure the PlayStation Network store and Xbox, like Game Pass or whatever, they, on the development side, they do take 30%. Yes, Foxy Project. That kind of goes hand in hand. That can be a topic for another video, but that goes hand in hand with the increased cost and team size of a lot of these studios and projects. They've just gotten to the point that they're so big and they take, you know, 3 to 5 years, and that's on the low end. Some of them
Right.
take 7, 10 years. I mean, hell, Star Citizen has been in development for 12 years, 11, 12 years, something like that. It's not even out. Oh, I'm so excited. And Sony also charges 25K for promotion fee to market the game. Okay, that I didn't know. Well, that's good to know. So okay, so Steam doesn't charge any marketing fees. They just take their 30%. That kind of comes all included in the service, the marketing, the pushing your product. Hey, Steam's doing it right. But yes, Grinding Gear Games, which is a studio out of Australia, I'm pretty sure. It's either Australia or New Zealand. I'm pretty sure it's Australia. But they came out with a spiritual and honestly, in my opinion, an actual successor to Diablo 2. New Zealand? Okay, I always thought it was fucking Australia, but it's New Zealand. I stand corrected. Sorry, GGG. My bad. My bad. All right. You guys sound alike, okay? You're like right there. Um, but they came out. Oh yeah, that's right. Stupid. They have Kiwi pets. Of course, it's fucking New Zealand. Jesus Christ. Yeah, they have a lot of pets in Path of Exile where it's like a Kiwi. So that's a New Zealand thing. Anyway, um, they um they came out with Path of Exile going on 10 years now. Pretty sure it's 10 years. Yeah,
I think
10,
you're
10
right.
years ago. I remember playing the closed beta. Yeah, 10 years ago. Yeah, they're coming up on 10-year anniversary, and in less than 2 days, Path of Exile 2 is going to come out. And from everything that I've seen, all the hype, all there's plenty of people who've been talking about it. There's plenty of interviews with Jonathan Rogers, who's the lead game director. He's the game director, excuse me. Um, it's going to be big. It's going to shake up the ARPG and the gaming industry as a whole, because grinding gear games for the entirety of Path of Exile, I'm not going to say they've been flawless. They've always, for the most part, I'd say like 90 to 95% of the time, listened to their community and done right by their community. And it's no different with Path of Exile 2. It is slated to be a big deal. It's so bad, or rather so good, that they've stress test their servers to 1.6 million players because they're anticipating to get that many people in. I myself have a key to early access because it's going into early access in less than 2 days. I'm excited, fucking stoked. Um, and yeah, and Foxy Project, yes, they have an absolute love of the ARPG genre. Um, and here's the thing: they've been paying attention to a lot of the competitors. They've lauded their competitors. It's not like they talk bad about games like Last Epoch, Diablo 4, anything like that. They do call out when those games fall short, but it's not like they're crapping on them. But they've been paying attention. They've been paying attention to what the communities want, what the players want, both theirs and others. Um, and
Their
and they've
competitors.
they've I mean they've
Yeah.
actually, one of the reasons why they pushed back the early access, because it was supposed to be earlier in the year, but they pushed it back because they realized something looking at Diablo 4, where Diablo 4 didn't have an end game. And the true end game for anybody who's ever played an ARPG or action RPG, um, the game starts, or rather the bulk of the game is after you beat the campaign. So you really start playing the majority of what you're going to be doing in that game after you beat the game, because that's when everything else starts. That's when the farming starts. That's when the grinding starts. That's when the leveling up skills and getting better gear and really fine tuning your builds begins. And that's what a lot of ARPG fans love.
Mm-hmm.
So they wanted to make sure that they had all that set and prepped and ready to roll into right after people finish the game, because a lot of ARPG veterans, they can finish a campaign in very little time. I know folks who have gotten down Path of Exile 1's campaign, and it's 10 acts. It's 10 acts down to like 2 or 3 hours. Now they're saying the campaign for Path of Exile 2 is going to be, I think, probably about 30 to 40 hours.
You got a stalker, Rob.
Yes. Old Man Garrus and I are friends on
On
Steam.
Steam.
Yes, I mean, you and I are friends on Steam too.
Yep.
And I was playing Path of Exile through Steam. Originally, I had the standalone client, but I was like, nah, let me just play it through Steam. Fuck it. And it showed up that I was playing Path of Exile. Um, but yeah, old man Garrus says, yeah, it's 40 to 50 games in the story. Yeah, yeah, and exactly. It's just so you know how to play your character and kind of how the mechanics and stuff works. Um, and Old Man Garrus is also right. It did what it's doing what D3 and D4 failed to do. Absolutely. Um, and for any one of you who are interested in the game, I highly recommend checking it out, looking into it. Go play Path of Exile 1. It is free. And that's the thing that I absolutely love about grinding gear games. The game, yes, I had to get into early access, you pay $30 and you're in. That's just to support the production, which is I don't care.
Right.
That money well spent. But literally in the 10 years that Path of Exile 1 has been out, they've put out I don't know how many leagues, and every single one of them, every update, everything has been completely and utterly free. And it's still free, and you can play all of it right now. The only thing that they charge you for, and this is optional, is cosmetic stuff and some account stuff, which is regarding storage. That's it. And that's optional. You don't got to buy it. Well, you pay $30 and you get literally thousands of hours of content. I'm not shitting you. Thousands of hours. Thousands. I'm gonna say that one more time. Thousands, thousands of hours of content for free, completely for free, forever, or as long as the game survives. And
Now,
here,
right now, $30 is cheap for a good game. I mean,
oh yeah,
it's super
yeah,
cheap.
it's absolutely ridiculous. And here's the thing: they're not stopping support and development on Path of Exile 1. They're going to be developing both games. So Path of Exile 2 and Path of Exile 1 will still get updates and development. Um, and it's just
Hmm.
because they know how much people love the game. One other thing they're doing, a lot of the stuff that you bought for Path of Exile 1, whether it's cosmetic, stash tabs, stuff for Path of Exile 1, they're transferring it as long as they can and they're able to. They're transferring it over to Path of Exile 2. So all your stash tabs, all your cosmetic stuff, you'll be able to use it in Path of Exile 2. So Grinding Gear Games is doing it right, man. It's doing it right. It's doing
Nice.
what even AAA studios don't even know
So,
how to
all
fucking
right,
do
I'm
anymore.
I'm guessing that Garrus got a free key.
Oh yes, yes, yes. Yep. Yeah. He is right. You do have so you pay the $30 for the early access and get in-game currency worth $30. That's another thing. Good call, Garrus. Or have spent $480 over your lifetime of is it
480.
$140 or
140 over the
480?
last 11 years. So since the release
Okay, so
of
140.
the
Yep.
first one.
140. Okay. I for some reason I heard 480 somewhere. Obviously they're wrong. But yeah, basically $140 over the lifetime of playing
Hey,
Path
if
of
if you
Exile 1.
spent 480, you're definitely getting a free key. I mean,
Yeah, actually you are. And you're getting a lot of things with that. The ultimate microtransaction pack, yeah. Yeah, and that's the thing. Like their microtransaction packs, number one, are all cosmetic, so there's no pay to win. You're not paying for any advantage. The only quote unquote advantage that anyone really ever sees is having more stash tabs. That's it. It's literally fucking it. But they have so many sales, and you get so. Trust me, it's not pay to win at all.
and you get a T-shirt, 4 free
4 free
keys, a
keys and a
sweatshirt,
sweatshirt and an art
and an
book.
art book.
Okay. So you get physical content and you get 4 keys to give to friends. That's a steal. That's good stuff. So yeah, guys, Path of Exile 2, less than 2 days. Go to their website. As a matter of fact, I will drop a link to their website in the chat because their game it deserves all the hype. It deserves all the love. The studio is phenomenal. They care about the consumers. They care about their games. And they just want people to jump in and have fun. So check it out. I can't remember if I've actually paid $140 in Path of Exile 1.
You should be able to go find out.
Yeah, I probably should check that because I might have a free key somewhere. Oh yeah, old man Garrus, I've spent and again, I used to use the standalone client. I've spent definitely over 1,000 hours in that game, and I still don't know what the fuck I'm doing half the time. I just enjoy it. Yep. Let's see. Oh yeah, that's
Crossplay,
right. Yep.
crossplay. Yeah.
Crossplay. Yeah, it's coming to. It's already on PlayStation and Xbox, and obviously PC. So yeah, you can play with friends, crossplay, cross progression. Yep, absolutely. Let's see. Foxy Project says that's one of those games that even if I don't play it, I'll go do the early access to support developer who listens. Honestly, that's good of you, Foxy, because we need more people who are supporting studios that are doing. Okay, I'm going to say this, and this is my opinion: doing things right. And Grinding Gear Games is definitely one of those studios. Absolutely, absolutely. Because again, they've had a game that's been out for 10 years, and the fan base is still rabid over that game because they do it right. They do it right, and they continuously put out updates. They continuously and all the content is always fucking free. Wild, it's free, completely free. We're talking whole expansions free. Each league they're called leagues. Each league is a whole new thing, new gear, new zones in some cases, new skills, a whole thing completely free.
Unique business model is what they have.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't even think it's unique in the sense that I mean, they're not doing anything that other studios haven't done before. It's just the way they're doing it. They listen to the player base and they make sure the cash shop is just filled with cosmetic stuff. Nothing game breaking, nothing give you an advantage. But most importantly, is that first thing. They listen to what the player
Right.
base wants and they give it to them.
But the uniqueness about it is the support piece more than anything else.
True.
Because they
That is true.
continue to support and not, they're not monetizing every little thing because they're already making the money that they make off the community. They're already making their money.
Yep. Yep. And old man Garrett said
Not getting greedy with it.
exactly, they're not getting greedy. They're just out there to make great games. And he even again Jonathan Rogers said he's like studios just need to get back to making great games. And they'll see they'll see things turn around. And he's absolutely right.
Mm-hmm.
And old man Garrett says the only thing you should buy is three tabs to expand your inventory. And the $30 bundle gives you enough currency to buy them. Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely. 100%. So yeah, no, he's yeah, just such a good game. I'm super excited for it. Can't wait. Although for any one of you who are um, looking to get the game on PC, understand that go to the website and do some reading because they're not putting it out on Steam just yet. They're first of all they're putting out on their website as a standalone client. First, for some reason I don't know the reason why there's no Steam, even though you can buy it off Steam, but it's not going to be out on Steam. You won't be able to download it and play it off of the Steam client. So bear that in mind. I'm not sure why. I'm sure they're working on the problem, but you know.
That's not right. By the way, Foxy, yes, cosmetics.
That's not right.
Cosmetics sell really, really well.
Okay, old man Garrus is correcting me here. The key you get from them is Steam or Xbox PSNG. You specify which platform? Okay. Okay, then I guess I'm gonna have to go back to watch that video.
What if I don't have an Xbox or a PlayStation?
I was under the assumption based on the website and a couple of folks that I watched, that the early access client will, if you're doing it through PC, will be a standalone client. You won't be able to do it through Steam.
Nice.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. So they okay. Cool. So
I
and
used to
they're
play
now doing
Fallout
preload stuff.
76. I still have it. I just haven't played it in a while.
Okay. So that's what old man Garrus is clarifying for me. All right, so they're offering the standalone version for those who want to download it so they can start playing the minute the servers go live. That's right. But apparently now they're doing preloading for Steam starting tomorrow. Okay, so they
Nice.
got that figured out because I know that was an issue. So yeah, look at that.
No
They fixed the
judgment here.
issue.
I might seem argumentative, like a argumentative pain in the ass at points, but yeah, no judging. She's talking about her power armor suit. I'm not going to call it. Well, I could say it sounds like a fetish, maybe, but you know. and Old Man Garrus. Hey, I have not bought any skins for Power Armor, man. I don't. I have bought a few things on 76. I should go back and play that game again. Um, when I all that time I have play games. Um,
Yep.
tell you the one that I probably spent way more money than I should have on was ESO. Is that when I spent a lot of money on that game?
Yeah. I think we all did. But I think that's it.
That's it.
So yeah, sorry for the abrupt end, but I wanted to stop myself because I can go on and on
You're like all out of steam.
about Path of Exile, man.
No pun
And
intended.
I'm super super excited for Path of Exile 2, man.
I can
Really
tell. I
excited.
can tell. Absolutely. There's some other exciting things that are going on too in the video game industry. And we should probably just wait and talk about those next week.
Yeah. I mean, we do have plenty more to talk about actually.
We do.
But yeah.
Now you need an update log after show. Yeah, an update log after show.
Update log after show is Greg going to get some dinner and going to sleep. That's what that is.
We usually end up we usually end up bullshitting for like an hour after show anyway. But yeah, food does sound good.
Yeah.
Should be in Discord chat. It's hey, absolutely jump into the Discord, and that chat continues day and night. Actually, it's been a lot more
Pretty
lively
much.
here lately. So
Yeah, we've been trying to liven up the chat there with our questions. We have Harper to thank for that.
yes,
Much appreciated, Harper.
and she's done
And
a
obviously
fantastic.
our audience for keeping their eyes open for those questions and chiming in. But yeah, I think that's the end of episode 77. Unless you got anything.
Well, yeah, over the next 2 weeks. So
oh yeah, that's right.
We have episode 78 of the update log next Wednesday, every Wednesday.
Yep.
We are also, I don't have a date on it yet, but we're going to do an introduction stream to the Walking Dead RPG. So we're going to talk about the game, how character setup, mechanics, all the good stuff, the backstory piece to it. And it's going to be a little setup for a live stream that we are going to be starting on December 14th, using the Walking Dead RPG. So we're going to do a game in the universe of the Walking Dead.
Yep.
It's going to be our own flavor to it, so we're not using Rick Grimes in Atlanta or LA or anything like that. It's a brand new story for the Walking Dead universe. um, starring some interesting characters. So if you want to find out more about that, I'm thinking maybe like Saturday or Sunday. I'll probably throw that out there,
Okay. Yeah.
and we'll get together and talk through The Walking Dead RPG and what our plan is for the live stream game.
Oh yeah.
And
I'm looking
then
forward to it.
we are planning on starting to publish our Symborum game in January at this point. So
Yes.
that will be coming as well. One
Yep.
really interesting factor to where for the Walking Dead game, we've done a lot of research on the area that we're going to base the game on. Really
Mm.
talking to some of the local people in the area. I'm big on if I'm going to use real locations, I'm big on getting permission from the people to do so. Yeah, you can go steal stuff on the internet. I'd just rather talk to the people and say, hey, here's what we plan to do. We would love to be able to use your location, pictures from your location, things like that, and actually have them have some buy-in to what we're doing. So we've done that with some of the folks in the area that our game is going to start, and also as a result of that interaction, we are going to open up the game for our audience. There will be an opportunity if you want to have a guest appearance on that stream for you to use channel points to buy yourself a guest appearance on the stream. So that's all I've got for tonight.
Likewise. Again, yeah, I guess that sums up episode 77. Thank you guys for coming out, chatting with us, hanging out with us, and giving us your 2 cents on topics discussed. Definitely, join up on our Discord if you haven't already. Follow us on Twitter, on YouTube, and here on Twitch if you haven't already done that. Otherwise, you guys have a good night and a great rest of your week.
I'm gonna try this whole raid thing again that I suck at doing.
Yep. Yep. Late.
I think we will raid into Fusca's channel tonight. They are running a game over there. Difficult terrain.
Sweet.
So show them a little love. Thank you everybody
Right.
for being here tonight. We'll see you next week.
Adios.
As soon as this thing lets me do it.